All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the review for the Interim 2 test. We will be going over the problems. I tend to go a little quickly because, quite frankly, this is YouTube and you have the ability to rewind. So here, the first problem, the instructions, which are cut off in this slide, are calculate the slope of each line given the graph or 2 points on the line. So what we're going to do is we need to pick 2 points on the graph. And then we are just going to calculate the slope. So the rise is -2. The run is 3. So the slope is -2 over 3. For this one, if we pick points, we get a rise of 3 and a run of 1. Remember, slope is rise over run. And if you're in one of my classes, I have a tendency to misspell rise. Just remember that that's the y. So the slope is 3 over 1, so the slope is 3. On these, what they want you to do is do the m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'll get 3 minus -3 over 8 minus 8, which is -6 over 0. You do not divide by 0 in math class. That slope is undefined. On this next one, we do the same thing. x1, y1, x2, y2. And we plug in and we'll get 2 minus 2 over 9 minus -3, which is 0 over 12. So the slope is 0. Now we should have, if you were smart, you notice this going in because here both x values are the same and here both y values are the same. And we'll come back to that in a few seconds. So for these problems, it was identify the slope of the line, the y-intercept of the line, and then graph the line. We've done a ton of this, so we should be ready to run. So for the first problem, remember the key to all of these problems is y equals mx plus b. If we have a linear equation, solve for y, the coefficient of x is the slope, and the number added to the end is the y-intercept. So for this problem, the slope is 3/5, the y-intercept is 2. So we would plot 2, and then we do the rise over the run. So we'd go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But remember, slope is not a location. Slope is a pattern. So if we can go this way, we can also go this way. And we can get a nice straight line. And there's our graph. For the second one, the slope is -1 because that's the coefficient of x. There's nothing added to the end, so the y-intercept is 0. And so with the slope of -1, if you want to write that as a fraction, it's -1 over 1. And so we get a line that looks like that. For number 3, it's a little bit trickier because it's not solved for y. There's 2 different ways you could attack this problem. One, you could solve it for y, which is what I'm going to guess most of us will do. If you do that, so what you would do is you would subtract 3x from both sides, and I'm going to pick it up down here, and you would get 4y equals -3x plus 12, and you divide everything through by 4, and you get y equals -3/4 x plus 3. So the slope is -3 over 4, and the y-intercept is 3. And you get a line that looks like that. And I won't even use a straight edge. Now the other way you could have done this is you could plug in 0 for x And then you could also plug in 0 for y and find the x and y intercepts, plot them, and draw the graph that way. That is also a valid strategy. Either way, you'll get the same graph. All right, for the next one. So this one, when we say y equals 2, there is no x, so the slope is 0 and the y-intercept is 2. And when y equals 2, it's like that. This one is like D in part 1, where the slope was 0. No matter what happens, the y value in any ordered pair on the graph will be 2. This x equals is exactly the opposite. No matter what happens, the x value in the ordered pair will be 5. And so the slope is undefined, and there is no y-intercept. So this last one here. Sorry for that noise, I just stepped on my microphone. Is we would take this, and I will demonstrate the other way that you can do this. So you can plug in 0 for x and solve that. You get y equals -2. That means the point 0, -2 is on the graph. You can also plug in 0 for y. And so the point -3, 0 is on the graph. And so I have that point and that point, and then I'm ready to graph. Now once we look at that graph, we can see that the slope is -2/3, and we can see the y-intercept is -2, just by looking at the graph. Now, if you wanted to, you could also solve for y. So you would add 2x to both sides, and you get -3y equals 2x plus 6. Divide both sides by -3, and you get y equals -2/3 x minus 2, which is sure enough what we were supposed to have all along. All right, for this one, let me just make this a little larger. So now instead of an equation, we have an inequality. We do it the same way. The slope is still -4/5. The y-intercept is still 3. But because this is y is greater than or equal to, we will draw in a solid line. Let me just fix that. And because it's an inequality and y is less than, we will shade down. And so the tip I give people is, if you want to shade down, what you want to do is, oh, it's being like that, is it? All right, fine. Huh, it looks like they changed this. All right, it's fine. So we'll shade in all of this. That's your solution. Anything in that shaded region is a solution. So, I need to redraw in my axes here. Maybe a little too dark. Let me see if I can make that lighter. Let's see what we can do here. Let's get creative. All right, anyway, so anything in that region is going to be a solution. So if we go back, so -3, 3 is there. That's in here in the shaded region, so that's a solution. 0, 3 is on the line. The line is solid, so that's a solution. 3, 3 is here. That is not in the shaded region. That's not a solution. 8, negative 8 is going to be down here. That will be a solution. For the next one, actually, we're going to go back to this. So we'll start off. Slope is 1. Oops. Y-intercept is 2. But we are not going to draw a solid line because the equation is not y is greater than x plus 2. It's greater than or equal to. So instead, we will draw in a dashed line. And y is less than, so we will shade everything below the line. Anything in the shaded region is a solution. So negative 4 is a solution. Whoops, I drew the line wrong, I'm sorry. Should be up there. Because this is very important, I apologize, I did a y-intercept of 1, it should have been a y-intercept of 2. Is the next point's there. That is on the dotted line. The dotted line is not part of the solution. In this problem, the solid line is part of the solution, but the dotted line is not part of the solution. 0, 3 is also not part of the solution, but 0, 0 is. Wow, I screwed this problem all up. Start over and edit, because that's why you do a background check and you double check your work. Because it's not y is less than, it's y is greater than. The shaded region should be up here. The same points apply. Negative 4, 4 is there. 0, 3 is there. Negative 1, 1 is there. And 0, 0 is there. So the solutions are that and that. I apologize for people who are watching that and were confused. Shouldn't rush these things during 7th grade when I don't feel well. All right, so here's the last one of these. So our slope is negative 1/2. Our y-intercept is 3. So I was just double checking my work, making sure I'm doing things correctly. And we will have a solid line. Because the equation is y is greater than. That means the shaded region is up here. So we're asking ourselves, are these points going to be in the shaded region? The other way you can test a point, if you're not sure, that's going to be in the shaded region, because that's up here. 6, 0, though, it's off our graph, and it's close. So what we can do is we can test the point. By the way, 10, 10 is clearly going to be in the shaded region. 10, negative 10 is clearly not going to be in the shaded region. But 6, 0 is close, and it's off the graph. So what we do is we plug in our values for x and y and see if they make the statement true. 0 has to be greater than or equal to negative 1/2 times the x value plus 3. And if you do that, I get 0 is greater than or equal to 0. That is a true statement. The point's right here on the line. That is a solution. Moving right along. All right, so circle all of the equations that represent this. So the y-intercept is 3, and the slope is negative 1. So that's our first one. Easy. But look at this. If I solve this for y, if I move the x to the other side, it'll be y equals negative x plus 3, which is the same equation. So that's the correct answer. This one is not. This one is, if you solve it for y, This one is not, and this one is if you solve it for y, or you can use that and do point slope form. All right, now we're getting into the multiple choice question. So this first one says, actually this is matching. So match each graph with its equation. Now we can't look at the y-intercept because all the y-intercepts are 2. But let's look at A. We know it's a negative slope, so it's either going to be number 1 or number 2. If we look at this one, this has a slope that goes down 3 and over 2. And you can't see that real clear in the video, but that's A. So this one here is the other one, because this one goes down 2 and up 3. Here, this one and this one have positive slopes. Slope of 1/2. Slope of 2/3. All right, write the equation of a line for the table below. Now, what this is really doing is this is much like a problem they gave you earlier. What you have here is, don't let it confuse you, you have points, but to determine the line, to determine the equation of the line, you only need 2 points. And I'm going to use this point because that's the y-intercept. Right? If x is 0 and y is 2, if you look at the graph, it's going to be the y-intercept. So I know that. So now I have to do is calculate the slope. We would use m equals y2 minus y1 over so the equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. There is a way to use the calculator, but I'm not going to show that unless your teacher did. If you did, then you're ahead of the curve. So here I'll use these 2 points again. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which will be 3/12, which is 1/4. So now I know y, we know that y equals mx plus b, and I know that the slope is 1/4. And so now I'm just going to pick one of the points. I'll use this one. Y is negative 1 when x is 8. Solve for b, and you get b equals negative 3. So I know my equation is y equals 1/4 x minus 3. All right, and these are 2 more of these problems. It's the same type of problem. If they give you the origin, you know it's 0, 0, and negative 1, 5. And so you would calculate the slope. And because it goes through the origin, we know that b is 0. So the equation is just y equals negative 5x. For the second one, it has an x-intercept of 2. That means it goes through 2, 0, and 1, 1. So once again, we got to find the slope. 1 minus 0 over 1 minus 2 is a slope of negative 1. Then we would calculate, we say, okay, 1 equals negative 1 times 1 plus b. So 1 equals negative 1 plus b. Add 1 to both sides, and you get b equals 2. So the equation is y equals negative x plus 2. Slope of 1/4 passes through the origin. So b is 0, m is 1/4, y equals 1/4 x. Horizontal line passing through 4, y equals 4. Because it's a horizontal line, that means the slope is 0. All right, now this is just doing these equations. We'll go through the multiple choice real quick. So multiple choice questions. Which equation best describes the graph below? So if we look at the graph below, it has a y-intercept of -3. Oops. So right away that one's out. It's got a negative slope, and the slope is down 3 over 3. So the slope is -3, the y-intercept is -3, so the correct answer is C. What is the equation for the line that contains the points 3, 4, and 5, -6? When you calculate that, you will find the answer is C. This will be A, and this will be B. These are both easier because they contain the origin, so you know there's no B. But they are not horizontal or vertical, so that's why the y equals and the x equals are out. This problem is exactly like the ones before, where we had to find the slope in the equation. These are the same. If you have any questions, ask your teacher. Have a great day.